I know before this listing, you did quite a few rounds of financing already, one of which that was quite remarkable in the middle of a pandemic as well in the private markets. Just walk us through why tap into the public markets now and why here in Hong Kong.
Great, thank you. Happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity. We believe that Hong Kong, because of its proximity to the China mainland and being in Asia, is very important for us. We want to be close to the patients that we serve and to the physicians that we provide innovative medicines to. Hong Kong, over the last 2 to 3 years, the exchange has grown robustly. Since they started the 18A program, I think they've had 154, maybe we're the 155th pharmaceutical company that is listed, and the companies have done quite well.
Of course, you have 8 drugs in your pipeline right now. You're fairly a fresh kind of company here, only about 3 years old, and you're still not quite there in terms of jump starting into a commercial stage type of company at this point. When can you tell us in terms of a timeline when you can start to generate some revenue?
Sure. So we expect that our medicines will have 2 that will be approved in the next 2 years and will launch. We believe the first 2 will be Trodelvy and Xerava or eravacycline. Eravacycline has completed its phase 3 bridging trial in China, and so we expect to file an NDA off those data probably the beginning of next year.
Kerry, I'm just wondering, what are you seeing in terms of appetite from U.S. and European drugs for commercialization in China and other parts of Asia? In terms of interest, what are you seeing?
Well, I think that the first step is identifying the disease states in China and Asia that really are best served by innovative medicines. And once we do this, we then go to the companies that have assets that would fit these critical unmet needs. And then we help these companies understand the importance of China. And the reception has been quite good. We have 8 partners for our 8 assets. The partnerships are strong and robust, and the assets are, many times are the crown jewels of the company with whom we work. So we're very excited about our partnerships and the reception from the companies. Oftentimes, the disease state in China is bigger than what it is in Europe or the United States.
Talk to us about your strategy and your expansion plans, because, Everest Medicines made headlines in April when they paid a record $60 million upfront for Immunomedics. I mean, in terms of deals, what are the prospects? What are you looking at? What would make sense?
Sure. So for Trodelvy, or sacituzumab govitecan, the generic name, this is a medicine I think that has been validated in many ways. Our upfront was $65 million. The milestone for approval in the U.S. was $60 million. I'm sure you're aware that Gilead is in an acquisition mode with Immunomedics, and the publicly released information is that they have offered $21 billion for the company. So we believe this is a great comparison for what the value of this medicine is. The disease states for which it treats are quite common in China. Breast cancer, based on prevalence, is the most prevalent cancer in China. So we think that the strategy of bringing this type of asset into China is very robust.
And most of Everest's most advanced investigational drugs deal with multiple drug resistance infections, Kerry. How big of a priority is this for the company?
This is a big priority for the company. Multi-drug resistant gram-negative infections are life-threatening and life-ending infections. These are very, very serious and the patients are seriously ill, often in an intensive care unit. And so because of the antibiotic use patterns in China and Southeast Asia over the last 30 years, drug resistance has become very rampant. With one example, one of the more prevalent gram-negative organisms in China is Acinetobacter baumannii, and up to 80% of the isolates for this pathogen are resistant to most antibiotics. So it's clear critical unmet need in China. And so we're quite bullish about our antibiotic portfolio. And the antibiotic portfolio, we have 3 assets of 3 different classes of antibiotics that have all been successful in the past. So a tetracycline analog, a beta-lactamase inhibitor, and a polymyxin analog. They all have characteristics that could make them best in class. We're very excited about this for China and Asia. And I think we also have seen with COVID the importance of infectious disease in the world. And we anticipate that, unfortunately, that the gram-negative multi-drug resistant pathogens will spread across the world with time.
Yeah, and you mentioned about some of your drugs, a few of them which have gotten approval in the U.S. and Europe, Trodelvy, Xerava, to name a few. To what extent do you think that these drugs can actually succeed and you can actually get a decent chunk of the pie in some of these developed nations?
In Asia, I think that the best-in-class characteristics of the molecules will drive the uptake. The physicians in China, when we speak with them, they constantly tell us that there is a need for new and more powerful antibiotics, that they have patients that just have no options. And, over the last 10 years, for this type of organism, there have only been 2 new medicines that have been approved in China. So we believe these are very important medicines for China and Asia.
Kerry, before we let you go, any plans to IPO in the U.S.?
We currently don't have plans to IPO in the U.S. It's a great question. We will see how our portfolio progresses and what new in-licensing deals we do in the future. Of course, we would like to have more of a global scope with our molecules. So as we move forward and in-license earlier molecules, we have the opportunity to join some of the global activities.